Celine was asking, what's the best way to get one-on-one clients? So honestly, the best way is through referrals. As much as I'm like a content guy and I love making videos and content, but the best way is through referrals. Like do a kick-ass job with the people who you are doing work with so that one, they want to hire you back, depending on what you're selling, and two, they introduce you to other people. But like this person is so good that they want to tell their friends about you. Most people won't give a bad service. If you ask them, how good was my service? They'll probably say, oh yeah, you did great. But is it so good that they want to then, like you're forcing them or guilting them to tell their friends about you? And a lot of times that comes from helping them beyond just the thing that you're helping them with. Like they're coming to you for a reason, cool. But the concept of be their chief goal officer, like what are they actually trying to accomplish, and go help them accomplish that. I just came back from Vegas and I was speaking at an event, and pretty much every speaker flies in and flies out, and that's their thing, right? Off to the next thing. My favorite thing is to hang out in the hallway afterwards. So I speak on stage and then speak so much in the hallway that Zane has to pull me aside and say, sorry guys, last question. He has to go to bed, which is usually Nina's job, but she wasn't there. So Zane became my Nina for the trip. And by the way, Zane, Nina was very grateful that you stepped in and helped with that, because I'll get sick because I'll spend so much time helping people in the hallway. But if you think about it, like what's the goal of what am I being paid to do? Like to come and speak. Cool. But then I'm going to stick around in the hallway and help everybody afterwards, because that's helping the client even so much more. Right. And then you get hired to come back. And then you get, if they're thinking about who are they going to recommend to other people to speak, they're going to often pick me because of the extra work that you're putting in. So it's not that you're not doing a good enough job. It's like, well, but they got a result. Cool. But did you help them so much that they feel like almost guilted into trying other ways to help you out? And so referrals is the number one way to grow a one-on-one client business. If you're a service-based business, the fastest way to grow it is through referrals. Now, that doesn't necessarily scale, right? That's not how you build a $10 million company, but it's the fastest way to get going and get started. If we're going to use content, so if you look at Built to Serve, we tend to always focus on the thought leadership and the content, but there's 3 strategies at the back of the book on how to win, right? There's the fast path to freedom, there's partnerships, and then there's thought leadership. And partnerships is basically what we just talked about. It's like referral strategies. For the content, the best way to do it is to do the thing that you're doing live on inside your content. So Zane wants to sell confidence coaching. He should be doing confidence coaching as part of his content calendar. We had somebody in Brandlytics this morning who was doing, she helps actors get into Hollywood, and all the tips. And so one of the video ideas we came up with was her doing critiques of people's audition reels. So to get into a film, you have to do an audition reel and send it in. They never get feedback on whether it was good or bad. They just know if they got the part or not. So have them send the audition reel to her, and she'll make a video on it, breaking it down and critiquing it and saying all the points where it's falling apart. Like, here's why you didn't get hired. I think we're going to call it like why you didn't get the role or something. And she basically breaks down and tells you why you didn't get hired for the job. What's wrong with it? If she wants to sell those services, it's much easier to get clients with that kind of content than with, here are 5 ways to win in Hollywood. Because the fact that you can speak doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. So what are you trying to sell? And then show me you doing it. Right? But the easiest way would be referrals. So I don't know what you're selling, Salima, or what we're trying to get clients towards, but go in even for free. So Drew and Jeremy are 2 people who I both invested into and trained the YouTube side of things. And they both have mid 6-figure businesses now. Jeremy started a little sooner. Jeremy went from being a stock boy at a grocery store making minimum wage to then now having a mid 6-figure business. And he's like, I don't know if I want to work more than 35 hours a week. He's like, oh my gosh, this guy. Jeremy, if you watch replay, you are spoiled. But how we started was, it was a lot of free calls because he wasn't very good at the thing yet. And so we did free calls, free YouTube breakdowns, basically pulling up somebody's channel and do breakdowns. And that led to then some people on the free calls would call him back and say, hey, that was really good. Can I hire you? And that becomes the goal. It's like, you ultimately want to be hired, but are you doing a good enough job on the free to get people to say, wow, I want to hire this person to come back? So it's outreach, Zane had a great point today in Brandlytics where we were pulling up somebody's channel. We didn't know who they were. It's just like using them as an example. He's like, could you reach out to them and tell them to fix their thumbnails and offer that as a service? Like, yep. Like if that was my business or Drew's business, you could reach out and say, hey, here's what's wrong with your channel. Here's what I do. I'd love to help you fix it. And some people might just talk to you for half an hour and take your ideas and run with it. Cool. And some people will say, wow, that's awesome. Can I hire you to do that? Because I don't want to do that myself. And then those people hire you. Then you do a kick-ass job helping them. And then they find more ways to work with you and refer you off to their friends. So that's the easiest way. Service-based business to get your company off the ground is referral-based marketing by doing a kick-ass job for them. The content is the scalable way to build a business. Cool. So let's turn into some questions. Who's got something? How can I help? Put your hand up and let's go through. Lady Lexi, what do you got?
So when you were talking earlier about the whole response videos, I was wondering, because you do a lot of those shorts where your team does on your gaming channel. Mm-hmm. And I would really like to respond to it, get into it. So I noticed that on TikTok, you can do some stuff like a duet or a stitch. But what do you do when it's only on YouTube? So can I post a part of your video like picture in picture? What's the norm?
You need to use something. It's like the easiest is probably Zoom, where you screen share and then have you on as well and just adjust the size of you.
Okay.
Like if I were to go screen share right now, we do it in Movie Makers, right? I mean, you see my PowerPoint and then you see me still talking and I can adjust the size of me to be whatever. I make it small so you can see the slides. It's not like giant Evan covering everything up, but you can make it that like lady is half the screen and whatever you're reacting to is on the other half. That's probably the easiest way.
And when it comes to title, would I say a response to, or would I create a more catchy title?
I would lead with a more catchy title. Okay. And then afterwards, if it's not working, you can always look to split test it. Okay. So for example, cool. in Brandlytics this morning, we had a guy who was, he's a copywriter for books, for book marketing. And he's already ranking at the top for all of the like book copy marketing keywords, but nobody's searching for it. It's like, is it really small? People aren't looking book marketing copy. So he's ranking for all those, but it's not helping him drive his business forward too much because nobody's searching for those words. So one of the things he does is he does Amazon sales page copy. So when you write a book, you need to have an Amazon page and there's copy on the Amazon page. And we went together and looked at the 4-hour work week Amazon page and it sucked. It's got like 2 paragraphs. There's almost nothing on there. So that could be a good video for him of tearing apart the 4-hour work week page and saying why it sucks and how to fix it. So the video, if you're looking at title in that video, it should be something about the 4-hour work week and how much it sucks, as opposed to my response to the 4-hour work week sales page, like something that's going to catch attention so people will want to click on it. Now it's ideally not just tearing it down, but then giving feedback, right? Like here's how to make it better.
Okay, so I got a little inspired watching all the descriptions on YouTube, and of course,
you got inspired by descriptions on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
With how people actually call themselves.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before ever. I got inspired by YouTube descriptions. Okay, this is great. You know that you're like obsessing over YouTube when you lead a question with, I got inspired by YouTube descriptions.
Oh my God.
You're basically living inside YouTube right now, Lady Lexi. Okay, I love it. I love it. Let's go. What do you got?
Oh, I'm living in Luma Fusion right now. It's a whole different ballgame. Anyway, Zen calls himself confidence coach. And I've been looking for a while how to call myself. Okay. Today I was thinking about calling myself, what was it called again? Inclusion influencer. Because it does have the word inclusion in there. And I actually like to see myself as an influencer. That's way easier than coach, therapist, trainer, whatever.
Okay, so you're asking what I think about inclusion influencer?
Yes.
That's okay. I don't know that I would I don't know that I would lean in on an influencer. I think it still has a 22-year-old up and coming vibe to it, as opposed to like if you're actually an expert at it.
Mhm.
So like
Okay.
if you're the
So inclusion expert, I also saw inclusion creator passing by.
yeah, expert or advocate or leader, or like just something with a little more, if it were me, something with a little more gravitas to it. If you know gravitas, with a little more stature to it,
Hmm.
than an
Okay.
influencer. I think people will self-identify as influencers, and they might look for. I mean, if you're looking at inclusion influencer, it's something that nobody's looking for. Like nobody's going to YouTube or Google or anywhere and typing, "I need to find an inclusion influencer," right?
Hmm.
So now it's a branding play. Like, what do we want to call ourselves? This is not for somebody searching. So like if somebody's trying to find a confidence coach, then they can find Zan, and you kind of get a sense of what it is, right? Like he's a coach who's going to teach me confidence. That's what I assume it is. If I go talk to him and he's trying to sell me dog food or something, it's like, there's something wrong here. So, but what's a inclusion influencer? Like you're it's not immediately understandable, so it's fine. It doesn't have to be. But if you're going to then pick something that's not immediately understandable, then let's pick something that speaks to the prestige, I guess, that you're going after. So if you're going to call yourself an inclusion leader or advocate, it just comes off, I think, more powerfully than influencer. So how to raise your rates when you realize you are undercharging your clients and customers. Okay, well, we could actually workshop this. What do you sell, Andrew? What's the business?
It's right up your alley, my man. So I'm a YouTube consultant. I do optimization and strategy. I am exceptionally busy. I don't have a website. I don't promote. I don't advertise. Don't do anything. It's just word of mouth. And I can't keep up. I've been turning work away and just recently realized that I'm not even charging my existing clients what would probably be considered the industry standard.
So are you uploading? Are you doing thumbnails? Are you just split testing old videos, strategy, all of that?
I typically insert myself in the client's organization and I coordinate all the moving pieces. I work with a graphic designer to do the thumbnails. I work with the video editor. I interpret the data and the metrics. I'm a geek when it comes to this stuff. I consume everything. I've learned a lot about YouTube from yourself and others. And in fact, I even have, if you haven't picked it up already, it's fantastic. YouTube Forma, fantastic. Daryl Eves does it. I mean, he just published this thing a few months ago, right? So it's the latest and greatest with regards to YouTube, and I've been deploying what I learned there with my clients, getting amazing results. I do the reporting for my clients every week, and I have some very, very happy clients. But I'm realizing that I'm not actually charging what would be considered appropriate, and so I'm like, now I got a problem.
So every new client you bring on is 30% more. And then you have a conversation with existing clients to increase the rate.
Makes sense.
And you may lose some people, but if it's a good spot to be in. I mean, there may be one or two people that you keep on just because you love them and it feels good to work with them and help them, but they can't afford the new rates, and so you keep those on. Other people can easily afford it, and they have to decide whether they're going to spend it. And other people you move on from. If there's anybody you can recommend them to, great. Otherwise, you're moving on and you start targeting more ideal clients. I went through this with a couple of times now with different YouTube. We started with Jeremy, who now is mid five figures every month. And his goal is to have 12 ideal clients who are paying him $5,000 a month to help him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know Jeremy, but I did recently connect with Drew, and I had a meeting with him because Zan the man hooked us up, introduced us. So we scheduled a meeting.
Yeah.
And so that was eye-opening. That was very, very eye-opening to see see how he has structured his business, because it made me realize that I need to recalibrate. Right?
Yeah. Well, and the number one thing I did when I invested into Drew was start to renegotiate his current deals. It's like, okay, wow, you're doing way too much. Like, this is just, you're not getting, you're giving a lot of value, not getting paid. So, and listen, at the beginning, this is helpful for everybody. At the beginning of a coaching business, you're just figuring stuff out. You're happy that any client is coming to you. You're getting paid to do what you love. It's great. I think a couple things that will help. One, treat every client like it's an annual deal, not just a one-off. So even Drew turned away deals that, hey, can you help me for this month? Like, can't get enough value out of it. So depending on the business, maybe you can, but by default, you want to think about turning people into annual deals. So, Terry's going to coach somebody on how to write a book. Great. Let's turn that into, what does an annual deal look like? What does a book every year look like? And just default into that kind of thinking instead of the one-offs. Mm-hmm. Next is breaking down the product offer so that when you are not just, you say, I'll do everything for you for YouTube. Great. That's a good starting point, but then you need to start breaking it down. So there's strategy once a month or every 2 weeks. Drew and Jeremy do every 2 weeks. Because for strategy, you don't have enough for every week. And if you're doing it every week, you become more of a project manager, which is maybe what you want to do, as opposed to actually strategy. Not enough happens week to week to really justify strategy. So if you want to be project manager, and I'm going to talk to the designer and I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to basically, as you said, insert yourself into the organization. If that's what you love doing, then you have a project management fee. You have a strategy fee. You have a
split testing fee.
Yeah, split, like optimization fee. So Drew and Jeremy will do strategy, split testing for a certain number of thumbnails and titles going back, and then guidance on things like mashup videos. So everything that you do is now split, and people can pick packages that they go for with all of it, or they can just do the one thing. And what that helps is prevent scope creep, to then say, oh, well, Andrew, can you also help with this? And how about this and this too? And since you're already doing that, can you?
That's happened. You're talking my language, Evan. Thank you. Yeah, that has most certainly happened. That's exactly where I'm at right now.
And that happens to every consulting business, every coaching business. Scope creep. It's just
I didn't know that was the term. Thank you.
The scope of the project just creeps forward, right? It's like, oh, and Terry, would you mind also doing this? And how about that? It's like, that's a whole other offering that I give. And listen, it's not that you always say no and you bend a bit, but at some point now, if this is every month that I'm doing this, it has to be part of some kind of offering that we're putting together. So some of it can be organic and you work towards, but when you get enough, I'm not so worried about the beginning part. Don't worry about having the perfect plan together. But as you get into it, you start to see the patterns. So, for Jeremy, for example, he didn't want to do thumbnails and split testing at the beginning. And one of his clients just badly needed it because she didn't have anybody who could do it. So he said, okay, you know what? I'm going to help her and I'm going to do it. And then he realized, oh, you know what? It's actually not that hard. And I've gained skills to do it. Great. I'm going to do this for other clients too. Awesome. But you have to charge for it, Jeremy. That's a new service. Now that's an extra $1,500 a month to do split testing on your catalog, that kind of stuff. So what I would look for you is how would you break it down into the 2 to 7 things that you're doing consistently for clients, not nickel and diming them about every single minute of every phone call is being like a lawyer would do. That's not the business you want to be in. But also clients don't know what goes on behind the scenes. They might just assume it's just easy, this one little thing for you to do, right? Where it's, no, this is actually taking on a life of its own. And now I'm very deep into your project. So what are the 2 to 7 things that you're doing most consistently for clients? And then pricing those out as different packages that you can help with.
That makes sense. And in this situation of if you are working with a client that you enjoy working with, but maybe perhaps they're on a tighter budget, Does it make sense for a YouTube expert to lower the base fee and just ask to participate in the YouTube ad revenue, do a rev split, a rev share?
You could if you see upside. Sometimes people will do it based off of a minimum. So, like the first $3,000 a month comes to you, and you invest in them to help them and guide them. And if you can't help them, if they're only making $500 a month, then you get the $500, but you get the first 3,000 or whatever number you want to put in there that's worth it for you. You get the first. So you're working towards it. And then afterwards, what do you want to work on together? Is it just stop and you just make $3,000 a month? Is it then some kind of share afterwards?
Because it turns into more of a partnership at that point, right?
Yeah. And so you have to pick those clients extra carefully because you're investing a ton of time at the start to do the work. And then when they end up succeeding, hopefully, like one, do they even do the work to succeed? Because there's only so much you can do as the guy behind the scenes. They have to make videos. If they're not making content, Andrew can't wave a magic wand and just help you blow up.
I do have one client that I'm constantly like, where are your videos? Need your videos. Where are they?
Yes. It's like, do you still want to work with them? Is it an ideal client for you or not? And then working towards, if I'm going to take a piece of their channel forever, is it just somebody you love working with? Is it a good partner for you or not? And as you start to build, you get a little more spoiled. You can be a little more picky, with who you bring on, the kinds of people that you want to work with.
Yeah. I recently had some very interesting conversations. Looks like I've onboarded my first celebrity actually. So things are growing quick, and I'm trying to be smart about it and scale in an appropriate manner so that all my clients still receive the value that they're used to receiving from me. So thank you very much, Evan. I don't want to take up everyone's time, but thank you so much.
And just super quick, like as you keep growing, it's for everybody too. I hope everybody's valuing the conversation, the kinds of clients that you want to work with. So for example, Jeremy right now on the YouTube world is only going after pretty giant names. Like everybody on his client list, you would recognize who they were and what they're doing. And that's what he loves doing. Bo, who I've recently invested into, he books guests for shows. So he got me Matthew McConaughey and Deepak Chopra and all these people. And then we turn that into a service for other people. So if you have a podcast or a YouTube channel and you're looking to get some good guests for it, Bo will book the guests for you, which is great because that's a big part of running a show is booking guests. But Bo doesn't want to work with the big name shows. Bo likes working with the people who are on their way up. Not the totally brand new, like I'm never going to make any money, but he likes finding people who already have a budget. They've had some success in the entrepreneur world and they want to launch their show and they have a budget to launch a show, but they're not people that you know of yet. And he likes being a part of helping them grow. So it's just a totally different clientele than what someone like Jeremy is going after. And at the end of the day, you get the pick. As you, at the beginning, you're exploring and you don't really know until you start working with them. So working with that celebrity, great, amazing. And maybe that's all you want to do then is work with more celebrities, or you may realize, I actually hate working with these celebrities. I'd rather work with the level below and help them become. And that's where I get my biggest satisfaction. There's no right answer. It's more, what does Andrew want to do? And for everybody else, as you start getting into the coaching business, you get to pick. Because of all the things, that's the most, like working with a bad client, a non-ideal fit client, starts to suck the soul out of you because it's your actual time that you're spending every week with them. So those learnings of the people who you want to start working with become important as you build your coaching practice.
Thank you.
What do we got?
Thanks, Evan, for your time again, for taking our questions today. And I just wanted some feedback. I just started my YouTube channel last month, so it's brand new. Just wanted your opinion on, am I doing well or am I not? It's called Soul Aligned Vision.
How often are you posting?
Once a week. Okay,
so let's work to up that.
Okay. Twice a week or?
As much as you can. Because part of it is just developing the skill set of getting better.
Okay.
Where if you're practicing anything once a week, anything, the odds of you getting really good at it are pretty low.
Okay.
So as much as you can, I'd be making more videos. I'd be going longer. Like most of yours, I'm looking at it like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes plus.
Okay.
We just talked about this inside Movement Makers today. Like I'd be even looking towards hour-long videos if you have enough content, like you can actually speak to it, but at least 10 minutes on it.
Okay.
And then just more videos, more
Okay.
videos. Like I wouldn't judge yourself until you have 100 videos on the channel.
Okay.
And you've got 7, which is great. Hey, 7, first 7 are the hardest to do. That's amazing. But 7 videos, listen, 7 videos in 4 weeks. That's a good start. But if you really want to start picking up traction, I'd have ambitions to go to 1 video a day that are, 10 minutes plus each one.
Okay.
And don't worry as much about the editing. I don't know if you are worried about the editing or what you're doing, but
I'm not, because it was keeping me from posting anything at all. So
yeah, perfect. Just post next, and then post again, next, and then post again, next.
Okay.
And start to look at your data and the traction. Like commit mentally to making 100 videos.
Okay.
Before you say it's not working or you can't make it or it's not happening for you or whatever, 100 videos in your head. You'll get way better. Like you're probably already better now compared to the first video.
I am, yeah.
And that's only 7 videos in.
Okay.
But now imagine 70 videos in, you're going to just be so much better and you'll get your rhythm and your flow down. So yeah, before worrying about, there's not enough data or analytics to really pour into yet when it's too soon on a channel. Because, some of them have done okay, right? Like 84 views, 170 views on your Mother's Day one. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, daily commit to 100 videos. You've done 7, so you got 93 more. 10-minute plus videos. And that's the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay to post 7 videos and not market them first? Or is it better to do 3 and then market them? So have time to market them every other day.
Market them through what? Like a newsletter?
Send people the videos.
You post. I'd post every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then take your best video from the past week and then put that in your newsletter.
Okay.
So not every video will hit your newsletter, which is fine. I do 20 to 30 videos a day.
Wow.
And not every video hits a newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Good luck. Lady, what do you got?
Well, I recently created a bunch of videos, or I recorded a bunch of videos, which were all consecutive. And I was thinking about what you said before, because normally you start with something like an intro and get people to get in. So somewhere in between, I made a 7-minute long video, which actually got into it all. But I'm still thinking, can I still use the other tidbits? Because I was going for a walk, and every time I saw something, I just recorded and talked about it.
So it's part of a series, but you want to also talk about other things?
Yeah, I was just going for a walk, and it was an hour-long walk. So every few minutes, I would record a few minutes of things I thought about and things I saw. And then when I actually was sitting down, that's when I made one according to the structure you always say. So later on, I edited them all together into one YouTube video, and I was thinking, this isn't working. So I never actually posted the video.
Well, how do you know it's not working if you haven't posted a video?
That's true. Then also just post it and maybe change the format a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the part of, if you're committing to 100 videos, great. You post it, it doesn't work, awesome, next.
Okay.
Because you got 100 to make. That's just one, you got 99 more to go. Okay. I would play with you walking more. And maybe you discover that when you walk, like half the audio sucks because the wind hit the microphone. Post next, and like get a better mic next time, or don't go out on a windy day or whatever, right? Just post and keep going next. And in the rhythm, you'll find what you love, and then what actually is also resonating with the audience. And then that's what you commit to continuing to do. But in the early stages, don't say something's not working if you haven't posted it just because, the vibe was off or, whatever reason, post. You take your hour video and you cut it up, or you just take the hour video and you just post it as is. And then tomorrow another one comes up, and you'll find that in those 100 videos, you'll get a few winners. How to create a framework to teach something. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. We actually start that with Inside Built to Serve, page 152, 153, Recipe for Success. I know you guys all have the book because you're in this group. There's a 3-step process that I guide people through for you to figure out what helped you have success. That is the thing that then you can teach other people. So you've tried a million things, right? Whatever hole you were in, whatever pain you came from, you tried so many things to get out. I remember with my first business, I tried so many different things. And it felt like nothing was working. Like just everything I tried, just nothing was working. And then I discovered Model Success, right? Then I discovered, hey, Bill Gates started Microsoft. How can I model his success? And that one thing became then the thing that I've done for the past 21 years. It's crazy. 21 years. So that strategy of Modeling Success is the thing that saved me. And now it's what I've teach other people. It's why I make my YouTube channel. It's why I have the, posters on the wall here behind me. Everything that I've done for the past 20 plus years, whenever I don't know what to do, Model Success. That was what saved me. But I tried a lot of other things that didn't work as well. So out of all the million things that you tried to get out of the hole, you found 1, 2, 3 things that actually worked. That's what you have to remember. You have to go back in time to when you were really, really struggling. How did you get out of that hole? And write down the steps, right? So page 153, your recipe for success. Number 1 is, when did you decide that something had to change? So step 1 to actually help people change is realize they have to decide to change, right? You can give them, if we're talking about teaching, we as teachers love teaching. We love giving the information. We love giving the knowledge. We love giving the information. We want people to change, right? But if they haven't decided to change yet, then none of your strategies are going to matter. You could tell them, what they need to do, but they're not going to listen to you. They're not actually going to implement if they have not decided that they need to make that actual change right now. Evan Tinsman in the group, I know, struggled with alcohol addiction for a long time, and he could have easily been given the strategies. He probably was given the strategies a bunch of times by different people. He could have easily gone to books or articles and found, hey, here's how to deal with it. But he wasn't ready yet. He wasn't ready at the beginning to deal with it. He hasn't decided to change. So the strategies that you're giving don't matter yet until the person is ready to change. So go back to your own story. What was the moment that you decided that you had to change? For me, it was quitting on my business partner, right? It was saying, I quit. I hate this. I need to feel like I'm a valuable human being. I'm working my face off. I'm getting 0 results. This can't keep going like this. That's when I decided that something had to change. So go back to your story. When did you decide that something had to change? And then you need to pull that out of people. So in your sharing of your story, you have to make it be relatable, which it will be, right? Because it's your own personal story. You have to not just gloss over it and just tell the surface level version of it. You got to take me deep into how you were feeling and what actually sparked the change. And that gets people mentally prepared to then actually listen to the teachings, right? So this is why your story is so important, even though it's scary to share, and you might be worried of judgment or criticism. If people don't know what you went through, they're not going to listen to your advice because they're going to say, well, she's not like me. He doesn't get me, right? So you have to tell your story, and you have to go back to that point in your story when you decided that you had to change. You were wrestling with this for months or years or decades for some people. And it's this moment that you decided that you had to change. That's step 1. Then 2 was, what was the first thing you did to start to change, right? So 3 steps, right? What was the first thing you did to start to change? It may seem insignificant. It may seem small. It may not seem like a big deal. But what was the first thing you did? So for me, it was, I just asked myself, somebody else has had to build a software company before and had success. Like, who was it? Who was it? And the only person I could think of was Bill Gates. And it didn't seem like it was this groundbreaking strategy. It didn't seem like this was going to be the thing that I was going to spend the next 21 years doing, right? It just didn't seem it was that big, but it actually turned out to be. And so that first step is super important, because a lot of people, if you just give the big strategy for where they could go, You tell them where they could be in 5 years or 10 years or even next year, they won't believe you. They don't think it's possible. They don't think they have an ability to get to that next big step. So what was the first little step that you took that in the moment felt insignificant and small, but actually made a big difference? So that gives people hope. That gives people courage. That makes people feel like it's possible. So what was the first thing you did to start the change? And then how did you sustain the momentum is number 3. So how did you sustain the momentum? Because you tried and stopped a bunch of things. So how did you actually keep that thing going? What were the strategies, the tactics, the habits? Like, what did you do to now suddenly be able to stay consistent where in the past you weren't? And inside of those 3 questions is the framework to teach. All we want to really do is help them get to where we are right now, right? You say, look at everything that's possible. Look at where I've come. You can do this too. They just don't believe that it's possible for them. So you have to take people through that 3-step process. Inside there's layers, and it depends on your specific story, right? What worked for me is going to be totally different than what worked for Krista or Duong or Dee or Brian or Yunsky or all you awesome people here in the chat. But that 3-step process becomes the framework to teach. The next question was from Chris, who said, how do you know when to keep pushing forward and when to just move on? So the short answer is you move on when you stop loving it. I think a lot of people honestly even stay in businesses or stay in relationships for too long. And they realize they stopped loving their business a year ago or 2 years ago or 4 years ago. And they kept going with it just because they didn't want to look like a failure, just because they didn't want to tell their family that they're closing or how their friends would see them and they have to start over, or the humility to have to go get a job. But if you stop loving something, that's when you quit, because you're never going to win doing work that you hate. You're just not. You're never going to. If you're waking up today and like, oh, I hate doing it. If I woke up today and it's like, oh, inside this readers group, I hate these guys. then it's not going to work. I'm not going to have the energy. I'm not going to have the passion. I'm not going to have great answers. And it's slowly going to eat away at me. Now, I love you guys. This is fantastic. This is the best way to start for me. But when you stop loving it, that's when you move on. On the flip side, if you still love it and you're not getting results, then you have to keep going. Because what ends up happening is you're going to regret it. If you love doing this thing, but it's just not, working out yet. You haven't hit the financial goals you've got. You haven't had the customer goals you've got, whatever metrics you've set for yourself, but it's not, air quotes, working for you yet. If you quit now and then you go do something else, what's going to happen is you're going to look back on this moment in 3 months and 6 months and a year and 20 years and say, I wish I kept going because I loved it. So this is not something that anybody can tell you to quit or not. This is a heart decision. So as long as you still love doing the thing, you might have to find a different way to stand. It's a Oprah Winfrey quote. Like, I had to find a different way to stand. You can't keep doing it the way that you've been doing it. You have to find some adjustments. It's not just keep photocopying the same thing you have been doing, because that hasn't been working. But you have to keep going and find a different way to stand instead of quitting, because you will regret that decision the rest of your life. So Ronald asked how to squeeze some business time into a family day. So that's interesting, especially on a day like today, which is a holiday for a bunch of you guys here who are watching live. I do this a couple ways. One, I actually integrate my family, my wife, my son, into the business. Nina is very familiar with what I'm doing in the company. And I used to have a really hard time when she had a 9-to-5 job and I would be working. And when she came home, she wanted to ask me questions about my day and what I was doing and what happened today. And I have no need to actually talk about what I'm doing. If I have a problem, I solve the problem, not by talking about it, but by trying to fix the problem. And so it felt frustrating for me to try to remember what happened today for be able to share it. But I realized it was really important to her. And when the people around you understand what's going on in your business and how it affects you emotionally, it doesn't become as big a hot topic, right? So if you're trying to find an hour today on Thanksgiving, or to be here, right? Some people are not here because they're celebrating Thanksgiving, right? Which is totally cool. But you're trying to find a 25-minute window to be here and say, I'm going to go hang out with Evan Carmichael instead of you guys today, right now. For them to know what this means to you. Like, let's just use this live as an example, for them to know what this means to you, to your business, to your life, to what you're trying to create, to the community that it's helped give you, right? For them to know how important this is for you makes a big difference compared to, oh, he's just off working again. He's just off doing that thing, right? You've blocked them out from your life. And so now they're angry at the work and they blame the work instead of seeing it as that integration. So when they know how important it is to you, when they know exactly what you're doing and why and what it means to you, and that just takes an extra level of communication. It's not like you're asking for permission, right? This is where people can get blocked. Like, you're not asking for permission to come and be on this live or do that call or watch that video or whatever business time is going to be for you. You're not asking for permission. You're just helping bring them into your world. Whether they can be a part of your world and actually help you do anything, right? At the beginning, Nina couldn't really help me do anything in my business. She didn't have a role. So I didn't see the value in just explaining what I was doing. And I definitely didn't want to ask her for permission for what I was doing. But in explaining it, it brought her into my world. It created more understanding and it made things a lot easier. It allowed her to get to know me better. So if you're trying to carve out time for work on a holiday or family day, the family has to feel like you're not choosing that thing over you, that there's not this big divide between you. And that comes from explaining and letting them into your world, right? Now, going a level deeper is actually trying to involve them somehow. I had a guy on my Instagram live who's part of my Movement Makers program, and he is teaching fathers how to be better, how to teach fathers with daughters how to be better fathers, basically. And he wants to start this show interviewing people and talking about what it is to be a father. And he was trying to carve out time for, like, I don't have a lot of time because I have a job until this thing takes off, and I've got family responsibilities. And so I only have this amount of time, in the morning to be able to do this. I said, well, why not involve your daughters in the show? Why not have your daughters come in and help you do the interviews? When you're talking to some expert about parenthood, why not have one of your daughters ask a question as well? And he took a pause and then said, holy cow, this is a totally different way of seeing things. And so now it's not just, okay, this is my work life, and then you guys are doing your own thing. Maybe your family can be a part of what you're doing and can be now more emotionally involved with the work that you're doing too, and maybe bring even more joy and satisfaction to you, right? So now he's got I think it was 11 and 13-year-old daughter, and now they're researching who to interview, who they can bring on, who they can ask questions to. And now his business isn't just this thing isolated all on its own. That makes sense? Okay. I found that you have to be nimble because things change and evolved from how you originally think is going to happen. How do you suggest shifting but not losing the message? How do you handle your close relatives' feelings on your comments about yourself and sharing your story that might implicate them? Okay, so those are two different questions. Let's go with the family one first. When you're sharing your story, I'm very careful not to throw anybody under the bus. Some people, obviously your family's involved in what's happening. Some people have no problem with it. Some people are like, no, I hate that man. I don't care that the world knows that it was him. And so they're super happy to do it. I'm not in that camp. I don't like throwing somebody under the bus, but a lot of the story, you don't have to say who it is. A lot of the times when I'm sharing stories, if I look at my Espresso videos where I'm going on rants or I'm stage speaking and I'm telling a story about something that happened to me, maybe it's Nina and I know that she's okay with it. But otherwise, if it's someone in my family, I'll often just change the relationship, or I'll change the gender, or I'll say someone close to me, because it actually doesn't really matter that it was your father. It doesn't really matter that it was your aunt. All that matters is it was somebody close to you who hurt you and made you feel this way, right? So you don't have to call them out by name and make them feel bad. What matters is your side of it, without saying that they're a terrible person or they're a terrible human being. All that matters is that you felt this way because of what happened. And so if you have to change some of the circumstances, you have to change the gender, you could definitely change the name if you're going to even say a name. That doesn't really matter. All that matters is how you felt about it, how you felt afterwards, and then what you did to get out of the hole. And then the other question was about being nimble, be firm on the why and flexible on the how, right? So the why doesn't change. How you do it will change a million times. You know, I want to solve the world's biggest problem. I want to help entrepreneurs believe in themselves. I want to help the world believe in themselves, but specifically entrepreneurs. I want people to wake up and feel like today they could do something bigger, better, badder, bolder than they did yesterday. That you've got Michael Jordan level genius at something, right? That's what I wake up every day trying to do. How I accomplish that's going to change a million times. You know, it's why Built to Serve, we go through it, right? The who and the why are stable. They don't change. Once you figure out your who, your most important core value, and your why, that sets you up for life. When you're 120 years old, you'll still care about those two things. But the how you accomplish it will change. I've had a pretty good run, you know, on YouTube where it's been 11 and a half years, April 2009. Yeah, so 11 and a half years on YouTube. We just crossed 400 million views, which is crazy. It's crazy. What's the population of the US? It's like something like that. Maybe it's more now. Anyway, it's hard to imagine. I never thought I'd be at 400 million views when I started this thing. Not at all. But it'll change. You know, in 20 years, it may not be YouTube anymore, right? We're going to be hosting these all in some kind of virtual reality room, or VRing into someplace, or hologramming. You know, we're all going to meet in Evan Tinsman's office, you know, for the next event. It's going to change. The technology will change, but the why stays consistent. So this is why creating a perfect business plan is never a great idea, because you don't have enough knowledge to actually know, right? So many people I see spend so much time building the perfect business plan, and then they get out to market and start executing it, and it doesn't work because they didn't have the perfect information. Because the best way to actually test it is to go talk to people, go start selling, go start marketing, go start creating. You never know which one's going to work until you actually start doing it. But you have to get up every day and start doing it. And so YouTube's been awesome. You know, we're playing with TikTok and we're on Instagram and doing other forms of content. I'm always going to be doing work to help entrepreneurs, but I'm not fixed on how it happens. In the past 24 months, I was asked to do so much speaking and getting bigger stages and bigger events. And then COVID hits, and then the speaking goes to zero. There are no events, right? There's no actual events happening. All the people who are organizing events were struggling to figure out, what do we do now? This is my entire business. And so now they're doing online events, and you've probably seen a whole bunch of them, tons of different online events, summits. I think even more online events now than there were offline events before COVID. And so they adjusted, I adjusted. That's the plan. Like, look at what's happening right now with COVID. I'm sure you've had to make a whole bunch of adjustments compared to your life before, but the why shouldn't change. And so it's being super stubborn on the why, the vision that you're trying to create, and then flexible on the how of how you're going to accomplish it forever. Like there's always going to be shocks to the system. There's always going to be the next thing that, whether it's external like COVID, whether it's something that happens close, right? A family member passes away, like you'll have these shocks to your system that push you backwards, and you have to make an adjustment, but just keep remembering the why and being stubborn on it. Crystal says, how do you move past insecurities that your content is not good enough? So the first step is recognizing that you're insecure, that your content's not good enough. And that's actually a big first step. For most people, they find really smart reasons why they can't do it. Oh, I can't make a YouTube video because I don't have the camera, and I don't have the story to share, and I don't have, like, all these excuses why they can't start. And I see Zan the Man Smith here in the house, and it's good to be all hands up. And Zan joined me on my YouTube gaming channel. So I stream League of Legends 4 times a week and answer questions as we go. And he was talking about making content and doing Instagram lives. I pushed him, hey, you got to make an Instagram live. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Great. okay, like tonight, I don't even know how it works. Like, well, I'll show you. Get your phone, press this button, then press that button, and boom, you're going live. And Yuko, who's also here in the chat, was his first person who joined him live. And it was awesome. After that, Zane went live the next day again with somebody else, and now he knows how to do it. We create these. So the first step to overcome the insecurity is recognizing that you're actually insecure, because, you know, in his head, Zane's got all these ideas for, I'll do that in January, or I've got this plan for December. And when he was talking about his YouTube plan, he's like, yeah, I'm going to launch those videos next year. Like, next year, dude, next year is like 2040. Come on, let's go. Where's that? I want that video by tomorrow. So we have these perfect plans, and we have all these reasons why we can't do things. And really, it's just masking an insecurity. So the biggest first step is just recognizing that you are insecure about it. And that's fine, and that's normal, and that's human, and that's actually great, because people who are watching you don't want to learn from the perfect person. They want to learn from somebody who is kind of like them. If you come across as perfect all the time, then they say, well, that person's just perfect. They don't get me. They don't understand what I'm going through. They're not like me, so I can't learn from them. So step one, recognize that you are insecure. Awesome. Step two, you then need to tell yourself that being insecure is not a good enough reason to stop accepting the fear, accepting the insecurity as a good enough reason for you not to take action. So anytime I use it in a couple of ways. So scary, difficult, or hard, right? When I say those words, it means I have to do it. Or the boom, boom, boom test, which is when my heart's beating like this, that means I have to do it. Just because, even if it doesn't work out, like, expect it to suck. Expect your first videos to suck. Expect it not to go well. Like Zane's first live, he's like, what am I doing here? This is working? Evan, are you there? You know, it's like, and listen, it was mine too. Like, how does this work? Oh, I'm live. Oh, great. Wow. Okay, awesome. You don't just expect it to suck. Why do you expect it to be great the first time out, right? Expect the thing to suck. The problem is we take that content sucking and we wear it as we suck. Zane the Man doesn't suck as a human because his first Instagram live wasn't fantastic at the beginning, right? Just because it sucked, it doesn't mean that you suck. So I just expect it to suck. And I flip it to say, I'm amazing that I did that. I'm amazing that I tried. That was scary. Oh my God, I'm awesome. Because if you keep stepping up and doing the scary things that you're insecure about, it's going to get better, right? If Zane makes 100 Instagram lives and we compare 100 to the first one, it's going to be a world of difference. And you can go back and watch my videos. Somebody posted on Instagram this morning, one of my first videos, and to say like, wow, I can't believe this is Evan. Like, yeah, you can go back 11 years ago and watch all the content that was there. There's been a lot of growth and development, and it's been definitely quite the journey, but I kept all those videos up so you can watch the progression, and hopefully it doesn't have to take you 11 years to get here, you know, as well. But just recognize that you are insecure. To accept being insecure isn't a good enough reason for you to act. And then 3, just expect to suck at the start. You know, to your point, I think it was Crystal, and I know we're at time already. It's crazy. Holy cow. It took me 350 videos until I wasn't completely embarrassed by my content. And I think I shared that story and Built to Serve, but 350 videos, 350 public videos where I couldn't watch it back. I would play and like, oh, stop it. Just post it on YouTube. And next, I could not watch it back. And then 700 videos before I inspired myself, where I watched my video back and like, oh, you know what? That's starting to get pretty good. You know, I like that little video there. That's pretty good. I'm on to something. 700 videos later, right? I mean, crazy amounts of content. So I was really slow and really bad. The only difference is I just kept going. And I think all of you here could probably get there way faster than me. The problem is just allowing those insecurities to stop you. So you do difficult things. You do scary, you do difficult, you do hard. You're not going to let those things slow you back because they're going to continue to show up. If you let your insecurities win today, they're going to win tomorrow. They're going to win the next day. They're going to win the next day as well. And what's your message to your audience? Is your message only do something when it's perfect? You know, probably not. I hope not. Right? So, but you're living it, right? If your message isn't only do something when it's perfect, but in your message to yourself is, I'm not going to release until it's perfect, right? So you have to start actually living and bringing the audience in. Let them know, I'm actually really nervous doing this, right? If that's how you feel, let them in. Tell them you're nervous and show them that you still show up when you're nervous. So super important. And whether that's writing a book, making YouTube videos, Instagrams, going live, any of that stuff, it all relates. I know we're over, but super quick story about Yuko. When she came in, she came to my dance studio here in Toronto, and she brought these awesome butter tarts. Oh my God. If you guys don't know what butter tarts are, imagine a pecan pie, but the size of a tart with no pecans on it. That's basically a butter tart. It's a Canadian thing. And she also made these green tea butter tarts, which were amazing. And she was afraid to make videos and make content. I said, you know what? On your way home, she was going to go to this really busy train station, Union Station here in Toronto. And I said, you have to go make a video there and find somebody and make a video in Union Station. It's like, oh my God, I can't do that. I barely even made any videos. How am I going to go do that? But then she did it. She went and she found a woman who liked her backpack or something. I forget what the exact story was, but she did it and she filmed it and she was on and the woman was on. And then after, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. It's crazy. It's something I would never do. Right. And she did it. And that's what you want to teach yourself, that when you come up against a fear barrier, that you do the thing, right? Don't do something stupid. Don't like jump in front of a train because that's a scary thing to do. Right. Okay. That's just a stupid thing to do. But especially when the fear is other people's judgments of like, who's watching me with my camera here in this busy train station? It's not a good enough reason, not anymore, for you not to take action. If you want to get a copy of Built to Serve and join us live for our next training with me to ask your questions, you can go get the book right there next to me, right there. I'll see you there. I'll see you to get the book. It's a good one. Much love.